Steve, why do you think mortgages affect people so deeply emotionally? I mean, deeper than just it's expensive.
Because a mortgage isn't just a financial agreement, it becomes a psychological identity. That's the part nobody talks about.
Explain that.
Most people don't simply have a mortgage. Over time, they become the mortgage. Their choices, stress levels, careers, relationships, even where they feel allowed to live, everything starts orbiting the debt.
But isn't that just responsibility?
Partly, but modern mortgage systems go much further than responsibility. They quietly shape behavior for decades. Think about it. A person with 30 years of debt behaves very differently from someone without it.
You make it sound like mortgages are social engineering.
Not intentionally in some cartoon villain sense, but structurally, absolutely, debt creates predictability. Predictable people are easier to stabilize economically.
That sounds cynical.
Look at what mortgages actually do. They anchor people geographically, they tie people to income streams, they reduce risk-taking, they increase fear of disruption, they make long-term compliance emotionally necessary. That's far bigger than simply buying a house.
But mortgages also helped millions of people own homes they otherwise never could have bought.
Of course. And that's why simplistic banks are evil narratives are childish. Mortgage systems built modern suburbia. They expanded property access massively. The issue isn't whether mortgages are bad, the issue is whether people understand the structure they entered.
You keep saying structure. What exactly do you mean by that?
Most people think the mortgage relationship is simple. The bank lent me money. I repay it slowly. But modern mortgages don't stay simple for very long. The moment the papers are signed, the obligation often enters larger financial systems. Securitization, trusts, investment pools, servicing structures. The mortgage transforms from a personal agreement into a financial asset.
And the homeowner usually has no idea.
Almost none. That's the fascinating split. The homeowner experiences the mortgage emotionally. The institution experiences it structurally.
Meaning?
The family thinks, this debt controls our lives. The financial system thinks, this instrument produces yield. Those are radically different psychological realities.
And you think the homeowner loses power because they don't understand the second layer.
Exactly. Fear grows fastest in ignorance. Most people see only the burden side of the mortgage. Very few understand the amount of commercial activity generated from the obligation they signed.
This is where you start talking about signatures creating value.
Because they do. Without your signature, there's no mortgage-backed security, no securitized pool, no investor product, no servicing income, no derivative layers. Your promise is the foundation beneath the entire structure.
But people still owe the debt.
Operationally, yes, that's where people become reckless and start believing fantasy internet theories. Understanding the system does not magically erase obligations. Courts still function, banks still foreclose, reality still exists, but understanding changes something else.
What?
Your psychological position inside the system. Most homeowners unconsciously see themselves as subordinate to the institution. That's the hidden relationship.
Because the bank appears to hold all the power.
Exactly. The bank becomes psychologically enormous, the individual becomes psychologically small. And over 30 years, that dynamic shapes identity.
Identity? That seems extreme.
Is it? Look at how people speak. I can't leave my job because of the mortgage. I can't take risks because of the mortgage. I can't move because of the mortgage. The debt quietly becomes the center of decision making. Eventually, the person stops feeling free.
So the mortgage moves from the contract into the mind.
Beautifully said. Yes, that's exactly what happens. And once debt enters identity, the system no longer needs constant external force. People regulate themselves through fear of instability.
But surely some fear is rational. Losing a house would devastate most families.
Of course it's rational. That's why mortgages are psychologically powerful. They connect one of the deepest human needs, shelter, to long-term financial obligation. The emotional leverage becomes enormous.
Then what's the answer? No mortgages, no borrowing, no property ownership?
That's the wrong question. The real question is, can somebody participate consciously instead of unconsciously? Because there's a huge difference between I am trapped beneath debt and I understand the structure I'm participating in.
You think understanding itself changes the relationship?
Always. When people understand structure, fear weakens, not because the mortgage disappears, but because helplessness begins disappearing.
So, what's the biggest illusion inside the mortgage system?
That the homeowner contributes nothing except repayment. That's the illusion. In reality, the homeowner's obligation becomes the engine powering enormous financial activity. But the homeowner is trained to focus only on liability, never on the value being generated around them.
And you think that misunderstanding shapes modern society itself?
Completely. Modern adulthood became psychologically organized around debt maintenance. People normalize 30 or 40 years of obligation as responsible living. Very few stop to ask what that does to human behavior over generations.
And what do you think it does?
It creates populations that are economically functional, but psychologically cautious. People begin optimizing life around not losing what they already owe. That changes civilization quietly.
So, the mortgage isn't just financing property, it's shaping consciousness?
Exactly, that's the hidden layer. Most people think the bank's greatest asset is the house. It isn't. The greatest asset is long-term behavioral predictability, because once someone psychologically identifies as a debtor, they stop imagining life outside the structure entirely. And that's the moment the mortgage stops being merely financial and becomes existential.